Today is Kargil Vijay Diwas, and it's significant to note that Manipur is in turmoil. It's unfortunate that our army veterans from Manipur who have served along the borders to safeguard the sovereignty of India have been brutally and mercilessly attacked by the arsonists. Today, on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Diwas, NewsX pays tribute to the Manipuri martyrs, naming Sepoy Ashuli Moyon, Naik Kaleshwor, Ng Beningvir who laid down their lives against the Pakistani army. I start my conversation with one such Manipur veteran. His name is Lieutenant General Nishikant. Now, Lieutenant General Nishikant, it's on this day that we pay tribute to the Kargil Martyrs. And this is specifically of importance to know that there were several of the martyrs from Manipur who laid their lives down for the greater good of the country, for the sovereignty, for protecting the sovereignty of the country. You have been one of these army veterans who was part of the Kargil War that took place in 1999. If you could shed light into your personal experience, what you went through, and of course the Kargil War that was won by India and makes the entire nation proud of veterans like you.
Jai Hind. In fact, it was one of the most memorable period of my career, and I was involved in Kargil right from the time the enemy tried to intrude until the time they were pushed back. And my involvement was basically, I was not in the ground, I was in the army headquarters. We were interpreting various images and others. My involvement, as far as the direct involvement is concerned, the Northern Light Infantry prisoners of war were brought by me by Air Force aircraft from Srinagar to Delhi. And I can assure you that being a very, very civilized country that we are, there was no maltreatment meted out to the prisoners of war, and they were given all the respects which is due as per the Geneva Convention. And we really assured it, we ensured it, and eventually they were all given back to Pakistan after the war. And as far as Manipur is concerned, a number of people have been injured in that war. We had 6 martyrs, including a Vir Chakra from Manipur. And in fact, about a year back, when the Raksha Mantri had come to Manipur, he wanted to address the army veterans. I had requested him that we will meet the army veteran eventually, but this time we requested him to have a lunch in the house of one of the martyrs' home. He is Naik from Naga Regiment, and it went off well. The family was happy that after a long time the Raksha Mantri has visited the house and had a meal. There was a great moment for me to organize that function.
Yeah.
And we are really...
Lieutenant General Nishikant, now situation in Manipur is tense. It has been tense for several months now. We've been reading the newspapers, watching news, reports pouring in of arsonists attacking, raiding villages, assaulting women, killing men. How do you view the situation? And there have been particular instances of, war veterans whose wives have been sexually assaulted, whose houses have been razed down, whose houses have been burnt down. In fact, there was one incident where a hamlet of a Kargil martyr was being protected by the BSF Jawans, and his village and his house was the only hamlet and house that was being safeguarded. The rest of the hamlets of the entire village had been burnt down. Now, do you think the Manipuri martyrs, war martyrs, army martyrs and army veterans are deliberately being targeted?
What has happened to Manipur, it is very, very unfortunate. In fact, when the Duran Cup was held in Manipur, I thought I was very, very happy. This was followed by the G20 meet which was held, and when we had a Femina Miss India being held in Manipur, I thought that Manipur is taking off. Unfortunately, in the last 80 days, things have gone on a real tailspin and it is not recovery. And it's a very sad thing for people like us who came to Manipur, who came specially to Manipur to settle down and ensure that the state progresses. I will not blame any community or anyone for what has happened because it requires two hands to clap. But the fact is, we have had ex-servicemen who have died. I'm aware of it, which has not been covered by the media. I'm aware of, as you brought out, ex-servicemen's family being, paraded. I'm aware of one ex-serviceman whose son was killed. In fact, wherever feasible, I try to visit them. We have collected some money. We have a few lakhs of rupees which we have collected, which we are trying to give it to the ex-serviceman, which we have given some. And whosoever comes to us, we are trying our level best to help. But I will put it this way, the targeting is not of ex-servicemen or anyone. It's a mob psychology. When we talk about a mob psychology, it is a very unfortunate thing. When a mob takes over a situation, there is no leader, there is no control. Everything is justified. There is no guilt in anyone that I am doing this wrong. It is justified in the name of the community, in the name of what they are doing. I really feel the pain, the secret agony of my heart really cannot be expressed as to what is happening in my state. And sometimes I feel, is it a nightmare? And when are we going to come out of nightmare? When is the dawn going to come? Because I do not, even now also, I do not see any light at the end of the tunnel. We are still passing through the same tunnel every day. Local media reports of firing, of so-and-so being injured, so-and-so, people being unhappy. So everyone has become an authority. Imagine if you go out, you can be checked by anyone and everyone. And I'll put another way is, it just requires a mob of 5, 10, 15, 20 people to just round up somebody and declare him or her as...
Lieutenant General Nishikant, again my question at this point, like I said, there have been at least 5 to 6 instances where the families of war veterans in Manipur that have been attacked by these arsonists, by these miscreants. Do you think it's deliberate or is it incidental?
I will not rule out being deliberate. It is just incidental. It happened to be there at the wrong time, at the wrong place. And that is how, because here nobody really is targeting the ex-serviceman or anyone particularly. It is just a community to community, and at times even intra-community. When I say intra-community, it is some Meiteis will target a Meitei's house, or some Kuki may target a Kuki's house because of their belief that he is working against the community. So these have happened to many people. So I will not say that these are deliberate. It is just simply unfortunate, incidental happenings.
Okay, sir. Again, how do you see there coming to a resolution? Do you think there can be a resolution? Can it happen soon? What steps should be taken? Is the state government competent? Should the central government now get itself involved? How do you see a solution coming out from this mayhem and violence that Manipur has been marred in?
See, central government is already involved. Central government cannot say that we are not involved. People say that what is the center doing? Center has already sent more than 30,000 soldiers. I am aware of the GOC of the 3 Corps who is Dimapur based. Half the time he is camping here in Manipur. In addition, the center has sent aid worth hundreds of crores. It has promised the ensuring that the essential supplies do not get depleted. It has sent teams of doctors. It has removed the chief secretary and DGP. They have been changed. Then it has appointed a unified command structure, a security advisor, and it is as early as late as day for yesterday, a goods train has arrived at a railway station known as Khongsai from Guwahati. So this will ease the supply question. Notwithstanding this, the situation has not been controlled, unfortunately. I'll put it this way, that I really do not know, because what I find the most important thing is that there is no fear in anybody's mind. There is no fear that if I burn so-and-so's house or if I harass so-and-so, I will be punished. The lack of punishment at both the ends is what is really encouraging the miscreants to take the laws into their hand. Imagine that everyone feels that he is mandated, he or she is the only one who is responsible for the state. All others are not. This is very incorrect.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, sir. You know, I have with me Major General G. Dwivedi as well. The same question that I posed to you, General, about the situation being completely out of hands with the state government, with the police forces, and again the question of whether the armed forces and the army veterans who are living in various parts of Manipur are being deliberately attacked. And I asked this question particularly with regards to the complete disregard of the army intervention in Manipur in the recent months, but also the dissatisfaction amongst the people and their continuous demands to remove AFSPA from Manipur. Now, does that dissent and hatred for AFSPA then get showcased into the attacks that are taking place, and particularly these 6 individuals and their families that have been zeroed down?
Well, Megha, firstly, I think the nation today is observing the Kargil Day Vijay Diwas, and it's the finest tribute to 527 brave hearts who laid down their life during the Kargil War, and kind of environment they fought in, terrain. Having commanded my own battalion in Siachen, I can vouch that this was bravery unparalleled, and Pakistan was given a show cause. Once again, the 4th time they got a bloody nose, and today I think what we are observing this day is the finest tribute we can pay to our martyrs. Now, coming to Manipur, I commanded my division in Manipur from 2004 to 2006, 57 Infantry Mountain Division, which has a deep relationship with Manipur. That time, the situation was worst. In fact, half the Manipur was under militants. You have the valley-based groups, UNLF, People Liberation Army, KYKL, Free Park, and then the Kukis and Nagas, all. But then situation was brought under control. It took 18 months. And from day one, I have been advocating that we need to have a different structure. And I'm happy that now combined headquarters have been, put into place only 2-3 days back. I think had it been done earlier, situation would have definitely come under control. Your particular question about are the veterans being targeted? I can vouch that Army has a tremendous goodwill in Manipur. And I never had one instance where Army was ever either opposed or attacked. But the situation today is different. Today, the arms are with the villagers. the villages have been fortified, and the remnants of the militant groups have got merged into the civilians, and therefore the situation is quite complex and complicated. The way ahead is that army has to come in full way, because today the army is in aid to civil authorities, and when you are aid to civil authorities, you are only in support, and you act when you are asked for any support. But now I think time has come. Armed Forces Special Power Act will have to be instituted, no matter what the human rights advocates are propagating, because today we have to save this Manipur state, and Manipur state is in very absolutely, it is on fire, it's on the boil, and very tough actions are required. The army has to come in, they have to redeploy in the counterinsurgency mode, and the greatest challenge today is to disarm the civilians, disarm the militant groups. Until we do that, I think peace in Manipur is going to be a distant call. So at the end, I would only say that Manipur needs at this time a nation support, and not only the army and the civil. I think the government has to step in, and we got to win the goodwill of the people once again.
Major General Kochar, now situation has turned so volatile that questions are being raised on the state government's competence, on the competence of the police forces, how the armed forces at this point of time are supporting the police forces. Should there be a martial law imposed to ensure this volatility be subdued, these arsonists be reined in control, and the weapons that they have procured, whether from along the border or from snatching them from the police forces, be returned to their rightful heirs?
Megha, I have reiterated in your channel since quite some time now that we need to have a governance which is effective in Manipur. What is happening is that the Chief Minister, how good he may be, he has not been able to control that situation there. And he belongs to a particular community, and the other communities alienated towards him. Even the peace committee which was formed was not acceptable. So under the circumstances, a change of leadership is warranted in Manipur to restore the confidence of the people there. I would also suggest a president's rule in Manipur to show that the center is willing to walk the talk. Today, if you have 30,000 security forces in Manipur, and I also agree that the Armed Forces Special Powers Act has to be invoked because in certain areas of Manipur it is not there. So, unless a sort of a collective measure is taken, after we are realizing that it is more than 2 months now and the situation is not controlling, 140 people have died in Manipur. And it's not a joke. I mean, the country has to wake up to the reality, the women paraded naked and raped and things like this. So, where is the law and order in the state? If the law and order is not existing, it is the responsibility of the state government. If the state government has failed to deliver, then I am sure that certain strong and exemplary measures have to be taken. And we here have been debating on all sorts of measures which have to be implemented. Even experts have been here. Even people from Manipur have been on your channel expressing their views. So I feel that time has come now that lip service has to be done away with, and let's call a spade, because unless we do this, the things are not going to be normal. And always remember that Manipur has a China angle also to it.
You're absolutely right. In fact, the news report that had come out that there are at least 700 and more people who had then migrated into Manipur in the last 2 days. Not just that, there are some 40,000 of refugees coming in from Myanmar and settling into Mizoram and Manipur? Why have our borders remained porous in all these northeastern states, particularly in Mizoram and Manipur? And what are the repercussions that the country is facing in such a situation? Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, again the question, peace that needs to be restored in Manipur, and what should be the army's role in it?
Thank you very much for asking me, Megha. I was waiting for it. Let me tell you, there is something called, courage of conviction. When you are convinced, you should have the courage to say it and the courage to do it. We have always lacked it. Why? We have lacked it during Kashmiri Pandit's time. When the entire corps was sitting there, we did not use it. And we lost 5 lakh people, had to migrate out. Now we come to Manipur, we are having the same thing. While flying an aircraft, suppose you are a fighter pilot in the aircraft, there is an emergency. Megha, the first thing is immediate action. And then are subsequent action. The immediate action is first, restore law and order, bring in the army, whichever way you want to, get the AFSPA in order, and quell everything. Get the arms back, get the people into their places, and that has to be done by army. There is nothing called asking the magistrate and this and that. Straight away, which I had suggested in Kashmir also, by the way. But we just don't like to listen to these things because we are very soft within ourselves and we like to pretend. Let us stop the pretense, and now let's also look at our border, as General Saab has just brought out a very pertinent point, that we have to watch out from Chinese which are coming in to take in. Our subsequent action would be, this immediate action, subsequent action would be get into the problem and let there be a mind, entire Indian mind to study the problem, and let us not fool ourselves. This was started before the British time, this divide and rule with the communities, Christian community, Hindu community, Buddhist, and so many communities. They interplayed with them and we politicized them, took advantage of it, and now we are crying where you've broken a toy and you're asking, oh, mommy, what do I do? That is what is our condition. Now that we have done a mistake, okay, let's rectify it. The entire system must be made available to the public of India that this is what happened and this is what how the British cheated us, how the subsequent governments cheated us, but we will put a stop to it. And let us not divide and rule these between Kukis and Nagas and Metis. They are one people, one DNA, one stock. Please let us understand. Let they be together. And let me tell you one thing: the amount of work the Northeast had done during Second World War, fighting the Japanese. You had more martyrs at that time. How they stood up for India, we have forgotten all that. These are the people who have to be protected. Just our political body has let us down. That is why we are here. And I am sorry, our army should have advised the government much before that this is happening and we must do it live now.
So why do you think the political class, why do you think the state government is so afraid of taking action?
State government is afraid of taking action because they may lose vote. They may lose their power. And that's why they don't want to take action. And having done a mistake, now they do not know what to do. It is like you're sitting in a car when you're starting it, you don't know how to stop it. And this is what state government's condition is. They are shy to call the army because bureaucracy does not want the army. I know it very well. I've worked in South Block for 2 tenures. I know exactly what happens. Now they don't want army to come in because then when army comes in, then they feel small. I'm talking absolutely correct and truth. And this is the problem. Until and unless we overcome this problem and get immediately with the immediate action which I told you, now within next 1 hour, this should be ordered. And then only Manipur will be brought to order. Otherwise, you will never bring it to order. And your DGP Kaute had told absolutely correct. He made a statement that the army plays a very remarkable role in the internal conflict and at the border.
Yeah.
What he meant internal conflict is this. The army plays a very remarkable role. A police officer has to tell us this is what it is. And we have to do it immediately now. If we don't do it, all the 3 generals have mentioned absolutely correct. I really admire General Nishikant, how he has explained it. And that is what the truth is. But something should have been done.
I completely agree with you.
Why did we play into the political game?
Yeah, I'm out of time. Quickly, General Dwivedi.
I think we need to take whole look at the northeast, not only Manipur, because this is going to spread. Already Mizoram is in the fire, and I think this problem is national problem, and northeast has to be handled in entirety, not only Manipur, because otherwise the whole northeast will go into the abyss.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.